and you're watching Dante's Vaccination.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So the legendary Anderson Silva transitions over to boxing at age 45 and beats a 35-year-old former champion, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This was really impressive, guys. It was really impressive because of the fact that when you watch this fight, Anderson Silva looked so good, you would have thought it was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. that had never boxed before or didn't have too much boxing experience and just transitioned from MMA to boxing. Anderson Silva, he showed good foot movement, a great jab. He was backing up the aggressive Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, Anderson Silva, he looked like he was having fun in there. He was making it look easy. I mean, in the third or the fourth round, Anderson Silva, he was so comfortable in the fight that he stood in the corner the whole round waving Chavez Jr. to come in. And he was still getting the best of Chavez. Now, Chavez did have some success, but it didn't faze Anderson Silva at all. I mean, he pretty much looked like the version of himself when he was in his prime in the UFC, making all of those UFC fights look easy. I find it pretty interesting that within a month's time, Claressa Shields, she jumped over there to MMA and got her first win, her first debut win. And here Silva is at the opposite end of the spectrum, getting his win in boxing. Now, see, a lot of people will look at it that way and they'll be like, well, see, there you go. You know, this shows that not only can a boxer do it, but an MMA fighter can make the transition as well. But the difference is, guys, when it comes to Anderson Silva, number one, Anderson Silva, for those of you guys who don't know, Anderson, he started off as a professional boxer. Yeah, way before he became a big draw and he became pound for pound the best fighter in the UFC, he had already started a boxing career. He had one professional fight back in 1998. But the main difference from Anderson Silva and Claressa Shields is when it comes to MMA fighters, they already train to do stand-up. They already train to do boxing, kickboxing. They already know what a jab is. They know what counterpunching is. They know all of these things when it comes to stand-up. Because stand-up is essentially boxing. It could be boxing, it could be kickboxing, but they already know how to stand up and throw punches. When it comes to Claressa Shields, every single thing she did was completely new to her, right? It's not like you wrestle in boxing to where she went over there and already knew how to wrestle, already knew how to do sprawls and, you know, take down defenses. No, she had to learn all of this in one training camp. Whereas someone like Anderson Silva and many other fighters, they've been boxing as long as they've been doing MMA. The majority of fighters, I don't know if you guys know this, but the majority of MMA fighters now, they have boxing trainers. They have a jiu-jitsu coach. They have a boxing coach. They have a kickboxing coach. They have many different coaches for all the different arts. You guys remember when Chuck Liddell, when he was on top? When Chuck Liddell was on top, he was the only fighter in the UFC at that time that actually knew how to box. He had great stand-up. At this time, the majority of MMA fighters, they literally fought like girls, just throwing these wild-ass punches with their eyes closed, with their head down. All they wanted to do was take you down because they did not know how to fight standing up. And Chuck Liddell, he was taking full advantage of this. And Chuck Liddell, he was taking full advantage of this because he had hands. I mean, once again, compared to everybody else in the sport, at least until Quentin Rampage came along, and then Rashad Evans, and then John Jones, Anderson Silva, and the list goes on and on and on, right? Now, once all of these fighters basically emerge in the sport of boxing, this is when, now it was around this time, around the time that Quentin Rampage had knocked out Chuck Liddell. This is around the time when all of the UFC fighters started to hire boxing coaches or striking coaches, right? And that's the reason why, once again, now they all know how to do some form of stand-up. Don't get me wrong. You still have a whole lot of fighters, of course, whose main objective is to take you down. But even those type of fighters, they know how to throw a jab. They know how to stand up and throw combinations. So even though this was very impressive, and I commend Anderson Silva coming over once again at age 45 to be the 35-year-old former champion with all the experience that Chavez Jr. has, that was impressive. But what Claressa Shields did is far more impressive. And it's always going to be this way. It's always going to be easier for an MMA fighter to go over to boxing and have some type of success. I mean, we haven't had some MMA fighter that, became a champion. But there are a lot of, former MMA fighters or MMA fighters that do both boxing and MMA that are undefeated as boxers because they threw punches for a living before they came over to boxing. But once again, Claressa Shields, she knew nothing about jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing. She had to learn all of this in one single training camp. So with that being said, I'm proud of both Claressa Shields and Anderson Silva. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Claressa Shields again, in MMA. And we'll see if Anderson Silva fights. He said he wants to fight again as a boxer. I look forward to seeing that too. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
An important message from Youth Fountain Laboratory, makers of VasoFlux and VasoFlux for Men. If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Plaque Out. Plaque Out is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856. And remember, to help unclog veins and arteries, get the Plaque Out.